Hello and welcome to another instructional video on the MiSTer FPGA system. This time we're going to be looking at the AY-3-8500 Pong on a chip core. At this time, I would like to ask you to like and subscribe, click the notification bell, leave a comment, pass this on to your friends. For the reason being, if you were so inclined to do that already, this is basically just a reminder on that. And that helps me out because the reason I'm doing this is to help people out that, you know, are looking for this kind of information. And I like to make that available to people. I've had people ask me to make these videos. That's why I started doing it. And, I'd like to spread that to as many people as possible. So if you could help me out with that, that would be great. I'd appreciate it. If you don't feel like bothering, don't worry about it. Okay. With that out of the way, I would like to just talk about this further. This is the official GitHub repository README page for this core, on the MiSTer GitHub repo. And the controls, these are keyboard controls, which do work. I tested these. These toggle things don't seem to work. It's just these, and you have to toggle stuff through the on-screen display. I don't know. I didn't try RF that resets it. And I don't seem to be able to select any games using with using the number key. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that works. I don't. I think the rifle games work, or maybe they do, but I don't have like a light gun or something, so I can't select them. I'm not sure. I've not been able to get those to work. I'd be curious because well, I'll get to it in a moment. So there's color palettes, and this goes through and describes them. Um, the color palettes. I'll just show them to you when we get into the core. How do you get the core set up? You have to have update all set up. Well, you don't have to. You can download the core and just install it yourself manually. But the easiest way is to have update all set up. And if you would like assistance on that, you can see my first video in this series that explains, how to do the setup, or you can look at the MiSTer Companion video on how to set that up and get update all installed and set up. And just you run update all and you'll get this core and it'll be there. There's no ROMs to put in it or anything. It's all on one chip. All these games are just like a single chip. And I'm so grateful that they did this because this has a huge sentimental value to me because this is the first system I ever played. It was a Telstar and it was this model. I played one of them when I was a little kid at my grandparents' house, and I still have the unit itself. So this is not actually the one I have, but I have one of these of this model, and I still have that model that was at my grandparents' house like forever. So let's get over to the MiSTer side here and just and take a look at it. All right, it's in console, and it's just the AY-3-8500. So if you didn't ever know what that was, now you know. And it's just Pong. And using the joystick, it works. And then the B button is to serve. You can configure that whatever you want, but I did B and there, and that's how it goes. This is a two-player game, so you need a second player, which I can do that on the keyboard through the controls. The keyboard controls work for that, and yeah, this is exactly how the game. I remember every detail of this is very much like it. In fact, you know what would be nice? I'm gonna try this. I don't usually do this, but uh, let's load a preset. Going down here to soft scan lines. There we go. It's just scan lines. That's how it would look on the TV back in the day. I just wanted to get that there. So yeah, as I was puttering around there trying to get that to work, thanks for bearing with me. Yeah. So I'm gonna serve it and whatever. Obviously, that's not and yeah, it could get locked. You could just do like that and it will get locked. But you can do stuff and this doesn't look like you can put English on it. So one of the things about this core, and I was able to duplicate it even with the Atari 50 core, playing Pong on that, was my TV has this weird quirk to it, where if it doesn't hear sound for a while, it shuts off the sound. So what will happen, since the sound on this doesn't happen very often, you know, you might hear the first beep, like that'll wake it up, and then you'll hear a beep there. And if you don't hear anything for a while, it turns off and you miss and you don't hear those beeps. And then, then the next beep wakes it up. And if the next one's soon enough, you'll hear the next one. But so a lot of times you'll miss audio. And the only way around that is to put it through. I couldn't find any setting on my TV to turn that off. The only other thing I could do was to put it through, put it directly through like my receiver and listen to it that way. So that's an interesting quirk. This system doesn't do that. This capture card, so you'll not experience that, but it happens with other things. So I know it's that, and it's not the core's fault. Um, and I did test it, just going through my receiver, and it didn't do it there either. Um, the only way to like combat that would be have some, put a comfort noise in there so that it's detecting something like a really low volume, but just enough that it detects it, but you don't turn it up. So and then it's in there, and then that might work to sort of alleviate that. But it's kind of a particular thing to ask for that's not really part of the original hardware. Um, just to protect, just to work around my TV. But it'd be kind of nice if you could have that in there, and then it would work fine, for my TV, and in theory, um, piping it through the TV. But I'll just reroute the other way because it's not going to fix the Atari 50. But this is it. You got it's your Pong. It's a two-player thing. There's no computer. There's no computer player on it. So let's go through the. I think I was going to do no scan number effects, something like that. CRT. That's the one. I was going to do a CRT one like that, but I've already got the other one on. That's basically how it looked. Um, So there are various games. There's tennis, there's soccer, or hockey, as it was on our system. It's called hockey. See, you got two players, right? Two paddles, like that. And then there's one they have. It's like handicap, which is one guy gets a third paddle. Which you could do that on our system. Like if you put it like in between the two settings, you get that third paddle. The one guy gets the third paddle, and it does work. And then squash, which is two-player, right? Like a you know kind of like racquetball where you bounce it off the wall, and then practice or handball, I think is what it was called, and on the one we had, and you just bounce it against the wall. So that's the only way you can have it. That's one player, and that's it. So no, and then there's auto serve will serve it automatically, or you have to hit the button to serve it. I think ours did auto serve. Um, Small paddles, that was an option, or big paddles. Um, Couple of different angle things. Not sure speed. You got a fast speed and slow speed. That was we had a toggle switch for that. Uh, Invisible makes the ball invisible, which kind of makes it hard to play. So I've got the digital controls here, so that I can use my controller. So I'm using actually my controller on that. And then here are the color palettes. Here's the grayscale one that looks kind of neat. You got the black paddle and the white paddle. RGB, just some sort of RGB. Um, Arbitrary color palette that was used during development, it says. RGB2 was based on a video of an actual console, but whoever wrote this forgot which one it was. That's fine. I may have seen one like this too. I don't know. The one we had was just black and white. Field that's just made it so it's like soccer. So you could do your soccer, right? Or tennis, tennis court could be green, but this to make it look more like a real soccer field, or you could ice, so it's more like when you do the soccer one, it's not really soccer, it's hockey because it looks like ice. What else? Christmas. This is it just has red. It's monochrome thing, but you have red and green for your paddles. Like that. Beep beep beep. And we have marksman. That's the colors that were on the marksman, Coleco Telstar marksman, which I believe has the gun, light gun. And then there is a Telespiel Las Vegas one, and that's what the Las Vegas one looks like. So let's see that one, and that looks like that. And let's probably just go right back around the mono. That's really it. That's really all there is to show you on this one, other than that little quirk with the TV. Is kind of the main thing that is worth giving an explanation for. But I've already talked for over 10 minutes on this, babbling about this, system that I have a lot of sentimental value for. It's probably not hugely, um, you know, people are intrigued by it or anything like that. It's pretty simple and well known by this in this day and age, with being a Pong. But um, that's the system. I thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope to see you on another video. Take care.